Hello everyone, a very good morning to all of you. You all know that we have finished our English literature syllabus, and from today revision works will follow. So I hope you all enjoyed these chapters because these chapters are really nice. They are all full of fun. So yes, please follow the revision class. It will help you to to know the chapter again. If you missed some points, you can again go through it. All right. So, yes, the chapter today that we are going to revise is The Tale of Peter Rabbit. All right. Now the video will follow.
Once upon a time, there were 4 little rabbits. Their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail and Peter. So there were 4 rabbits. What are the name of those? Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail and Peter. They lived with their mother in a sandbank underneath the root of a very big fir tree. Sandbank means small hill made of sand. Small hills made of sands is known as sandbank. Now, my dears, said old Mrs. Rabbit one morning, you may go into the field or down the lane, but don't go into Mr. McGregor's garden. Now run along and don't get into mischief. I'm going out. Mischief means being naughty, which you all used to do in school. Yeah, your ma'am misses that, your naughtiness also. I do miss it. I can name also a few of the mischievous students I used to had in class 2. I don't know how are they now. Hoping to meet soon. I'll let you know how. Actually, I'm planning for something and we'll let you know definitely. In your science class, you will get to know about it. So, yeah. Okay, then old Mrs. Rabbit took a basket and her umbrella and went through the wood to the baker's shop. Flopsy, Mopsy and Cottontail, who were good little bunnies, went down the lane to gather blackberries. So they all went down the lanes to gather what? To gather blackberries. However, Peter, who was very naughty, ran straight away to Mr. McGregor's gardens. Peter was very naughty, and what did he do? In spite of the warnings of not to go there, Peter went to Mr. McGregor's garden and squeezed under the gate. First he ate some lettuce leaves and some beans. Then he ate some radishes. Then feeling rather sick, he went to look for some parsley. So he was going on eating and eating by seeing so many fresh leaves and vegetables over there. Round the end of a cucumber frame means wooden structure used for growing cucumbers. Cucumbers are grown on wooden structures and though that frame is known as cucumber frame. So whom should he meet? Round the end of the cucumber frame, whom should he meet but Mr. McGregor. Mr. McGregor was on his hands and knees planting young cabbages, but he jumped up and ran after Peter. He was actually busy. He was planting cabbages on the ground. But once he saw Peter, what did he do? He just ran after him, waving a rake and calling out, "Stop thief! Stop thief!" Peter was most dreadfully frightened. He rushed all over the garden, for he had forgotten the way back to the gate. He actually forgot from where he entered the garden. He was actually running all over because he couldn't find the gate from where he slipped in. He lost one of his shoes among the cabbages and the other shoe among the potatoes. It's so funny. While running, he lost one of his shoe in the cabbages and one in the potato. um, after losing them, he ran on 4 legs. He might have got away if he had not run into a gooseberry net and got caught by the large buttons on his jacket. It was a blue jacket with brass buttons, quite new. See the picture? You will be able to understand. See the picture over here? You can see. It's a funny picture, this one is. So, it was a blue jacket with brass buttons, quite new. Peter gave himself up for lost. That means he had thought that he would never be free again. And shed big tears. He began to cry. Mr. McGregor came up with a sieve, which he intended to use to catch Peter. Sieve means tool used for straining solid from liquid. Okay. But Peter wriggled out just in time, leaving his jacket behind him. He just wriggled out, leaving his jacket behind. He rushed into the tool shed and jumped into a can. He jumped into what? He jumped into a can. See, in the next page you can see the picture. Peter jumped into a can. Here, the ears are visible. Right. Yeah. So, jumped into the can. Again, I lost where I was reading. Yeah, I got it. It would have been a beautiful thing to hide in if it had not had so much water in it. The can was actually full of water. So he was thinking that it would be a great place to hide if there were little less water. Mr. McGregor was quite sure that Peter was somewhere in the tool shed. Perhaps hidden underneath a flower pot. He began to turn them over carefully, looking under each. He was actually thinking that Peter must be under some flower pot. So he was turning it one by one. Peter sneezed. Katishu. What's that? Actually, when we sneeze, what kind of sound we? So that is what? It was written as Katishu. We are Bengalis or we are Indian basically. So the way we sneeze and the way they sneeze is different. Maybe they make this kind of sound while sneezing. So Mr. McGregor was after him in no time. He tried to put his foot upon Peter, who jumped out of a window, upsetting 3 plants. The window was too small for Mr. McGregor and he was tired of running after Peter. He went back to his work. So Mr. McGregor, he found Peter, and what he was trying to do, he was trying to step into that can, putting his legs on Peter, but Peter just jumped and ran from the window, and the window was so small for Mr. McGregor to jump from. So he decided that I am very tired of running over him and let's get back to work. It's better that I work for myself. Peter sat down to rest. He was out of breath and trembling with fright and had no idea which way to go. Also, he was very damp with sitting in that can. After a time, he began to wander about. Wander about means walk or moving in a leisurely or aimless way. Looking all round, he found a door in a wall, but it was locked. Ultimately, while searching for the things, he found a door in a wall, but the door was what? The door was locked. And there was no room for a fat little rabbit to squeeze underneath. So there is no room that from where he can squeeze. Squeeze means, to squeeze. We squeeze things to drain water from things. So rabbits are so small that they can even squeeze into small places. But there were no such places to squeeze into. So he was wondering where to go. Then he tried to find his way straight across the garden, but he became more and more puzzled. He was actually puzzled with from where to leave. He came to a pond where Mr. McGregor filled his water cans. A white cat was staring at some goldfish. So there was a pond and there a cat was there. He was staring at some goldfish. She sat very, very still. Peter thought it best to go away without speaking to her. He had heard about cats from his cousins, little Benjamin Bunny. He went back towards the tool shed. So what did he decide? He decided that he will pass away silently. He don't want to speak to her. He went back towards the tool shed, but suddenly, quite close to him, he heard the noise of a hoe. Hoe is a gardening tool with a long handle. Scritch, scratch, scratch, scritch. It was Mr. McGregor hoeing onions. That is, he was digging the onions out. His back was turned towards Peter, and beyond him was the gate. Now Peter could see the gate. Peter started running as fast as he could go along a straight walk behind some blackcurrant bushes. Mr. McGregor caught sight of him at the corner, but Peter did not care. He just went on running. He slipped underneath the gate and was safe at last in the wood outside the garden. In the woods means in the forest outside the garden. That is, ultimately, he was able to save himself from Mr. McGregor's trap. And he was free now. So it's a tale from the Tale of Peter Rabbit by Beatrix Potter. It's a very nice story, beautiful story. A story to enjoy. Okay, so that's all for today, children. Please go on learning the chapter. Try to understand. If you don't understand, please play the video and listen to it. It will be there in YouTube. So, and the next day we will solve the exercise of it. Okay. So till then, stay home, stay safe, stay blessed, play a lot. Yeah, you don't have that burden of studies, but yes, start to what? Study. You will have to study now. Okay. Bye-bye.